Hey, what's up, everyone? This is a long-awaited part 3 of my EU promo collection. This is just the latest update about some of the posters and promos and things that I've been able to get out of the tubes and the boxes and to sort of stick into some art portfolios to make it easier for me to enjoy and easier to share with you. So in no particular order, I'll start with some of these additional 11 by 17 prints. I've actually shown this before in a previous video. This is a promo handed out at Celebration 5 in 2010 for the Clone Wars magazine, advertising the first issue on sale October 5th. Pretty cool. I don't think there's anything on the back. If there is, I can't remember. At the moment, I haven't bothered, for instance, you can see, to sort of take off the asset archive paper in between that would allow you to sort of see the back. When I do that, if there are any of these that are double-sided, I'll make a fourth video. This just happens to be a bunch of duplicates of one that I've shown off in a previous video for the Knight Errant comic. I have about 5 of those, and I just decided just to stick them in there, still folded up, just for the purposes of getting them out of another box. This is a very meta promo, which I love. So it is a promo for Previews Magazine, which is a promotional magazine that the distributor Diamond sends to retailers, comic shops, for them to, sort of make their purchases for fans, right? So it's a promo promoting a promotional thing, promoting the Attack of the Clones comic adaptation. So it's from February 2002. Again, just a very meta thing, gotta have it. For a long time, I tended to want to focus just on promos that promoted very specific things, and again, in a very meta way. This is in reality only promoting Previews Magazine, right? But again, the Previews Magazine promotion is promoting the Attack of the Clones comic, so I had to have it. Speaking of previews, previews themselves, the previews catalogs, are a fun collectible for Star Wars EU fans. There's I don't know if there's a definitive list, but there's definitely a handful of catalogs over the decades that have highlighted on the cover EU content, EU comic content, and some are very hard to find, some are very expensive, unfortunately. I think my favorite is one from the end of 2014, which was highlighting the very sad demise of the EU comic continuity. This is a fun one, again, a very sort of general one that doesn't specifically promote one particular comic, but instead just the idea of Star Wars comics, particularly from Dark Horse. Dave Dorman art, very distinctive. I've always loved the title here too, which sort of plays with the logo and is able to stick a tagline in between Star Wars. There's something about this is just very distinctive, from the logo to the Dave Dorman art. So it's always been a fun one, very colorful one too. Again, that Dave Dorman art, very distinctive. And sticking with Dark Horse here, another 11 by 17. Folks, I'm sure, have probably seen this, and apologies for the landscape versus portrait mode here, but you'll have to turn your head sideways to get a sort of full view if you haven't seen this before. This is widely available, and this is an image that's been used in a number of different places, including on the Dark Horse reference guide, comics panel to panel. It's a very large swath of characters from the Star Wars comics run, and on the back is a list indicating who's who. Very cool poster, really neat thing. If you boiled your EU promo posters down to a list of about the top 10 or 5, honestly, I think this would be a contender, if only because it's just so comprehensive. I tend to prefer, I think my favorite promo posters are posters, whether you're talking about Star Wars or any book series or band or movie, it's ones that put tons of things into one, right? So I love posters, for instance, that put multiple books, right, or multiple band, CDs, or in this case, multiple characters, right? So it's just a really, really cool way of killing multiple birds with one stone with one promo poster. Yet another Dark Horse promo here. So one-shot wonders. You can sort of see Darth Vader at the top. You can see characters from Willow towards the bottom. The idea here was to sort of promote some of these one-off special issues that Dark Horse was producing at the time. You can't see the back because I haven't taken the archive paper off, but on the back are the specific cover images of the one-shots here involving these characters, and in the case of Star Wars EU, it's the Purge comic. So pretty cool. So this is effectively not just a promo for the one-shots that Dark Horse was publishing, but it's sort of, from our perspective, specifically sort of a promo for Purge. This is just one of a too high to count number of versions of this that I have. Everyone's seen this before on the cover of the Pablo Hidalgo guide, Essential Guide to Readers. I'm sure I've shown this in previous videos. On the back is a, which again you can't see here, is a promo for one of the Old Republic books. I forget which. This is from previous video, and I'm trying to see if there's anything in here new. There might be. I'm just going to flip this pretty quickly. If folks have seen the previous one, this will be pretty boring, but if not, you'll get a fun little sort of quick version of everything that's in here. There we go. So you got one of many, many, many copies of that. That's what's on the back of that one. There you go. And again, when I talk about promos that promote multiple versions, multiple books, here you go. Great example of that, right? It's, 4 is better than 1, right? So that's pretty cool. Some Doctor Who stuff here. By the way, in some of these other books, I'll sort of move past the stuff that isn't Star Wars, but I collect promos from Star Trek and Doctor Who and a couple of other franchises too. Trying to see if there's anything in here that's new. Tolkien, for instance. I'm a sucker, more Star Trek stuff. I'm a sucker for anything that's 11 by 17, which tends to be a pretty standard size. I don't know if this was in the previous video. This is something that I remember having picked up, but was only able to find about a year ago in a poster tube, and it was just in mint condition. I'd never taken it out of the box. Basically, it's from is it from Celebration? I forget. But this I picked up. So excited. This, again, you can see May 27th, 2007, right? LA Convention Center, Clone Wars, right? The Filoni Clone Wars. This is back at a time when, however naive it sounds now, many of us believed that the Filoni Clone Wars was going to effectively be kind of a follow-up to the Tartakovsky Clone Wars, right? So I was unbelievably excited about this. And this was really the first promo item, I believe, that anyone could get for the Clone Wars. And so this was the first thing I picked up. And and here we go. Okay. I think that's new to this. You guys have seen these before. These are fan-made by Mike Fessler. Great stuff. Legacy. I think this is all old. Shadows. It's the Republic. Last Command. Pretty sure this is all repeat stuff. This might be new from the last video. Son of Dathomir promo, which on the other side contains Rebel Heist. Doctor Who. Is there anything else Star Wars related here? Let's see here. One more thing. I think that's in the last video. So those are some of the 11 by 17s. There's more to come for sure. But those are just some of the things that I was able to stick in those portfolios. Now we're moving on to 17 by 22. This is great. So this comes out of the Overstreet Price Guide. If this image looks familiar, it's because it's used in a number of different places, including on the Heir to the Empire comic adaptation, and I think most recently on one of the Hasbro Black Series figures. I think they've used some of this artwork, but it's a fun poster. As much as I love 11 by 17, you can't deny that the bigger the posters get, the more impressive some of the images become. 17 by 22 is a somewhat standard size. There's a number of things in this mold, but this has always been a great image, and it's, I think, better to have it here than on 11 by 17. This is one of my prized possessions. This is an original Jedi Prince promo poster. Again, it's 17 by 22. The adventure continues. Star Wars introducing all new series of books for young readers. Love it. Just absolutely love this one. Pretty obscure too. Pretty hard to find. Here is a really wonderful poster, slightly smaller than 17 by 22 for Tales from the Cantina. If this doesn't look familiar to a lot of my North American viewers, it's because this is from the UK. There are a lot of great Bantam era UK promo posters. Pretty hard to find, obviously, in North America, right? And you kind of have to know what you're looking for, and you kind of have to know some of the key terms to punch in, because among other things, if you were looking for, say, something like store promo in the context of, say, something from Britain, nothing would pop up. And why is that? Well, because Britons don't have stores, they have shops, so you've got to be careful about what you actually ultimately search for. Some of these I think are double-sided. Again, I've got some of the archival paper in the back. When this comes out, when I get this better organized, I can do a follow-up. Chusabekura. I think on the back of this one is a Crystal Star promo. So again, this is also from the UK. Another poster from the UK, which interestingly had a North American variant that looks somewhat similar, although what I appreciate about this one more is the UK version, I think, really looks more like an actual in-universe poster, right? Intergalactic newsflash, right? It's something that could have come across, like the HoloNet, right? Princess Leia to marry. And of course, it's a advertisement for courtship of Princess Leia. Look at that, only 10 pounds, right? Not bad, right? I think this is only single-sided, although it's possible that on the back is another Chusabakura. I forget. We'll have to do a future video about that. But again, there is a North American variant of this, which is pretty darn similar. Basically, the only thing it has is, I think, a broader Bantam logo, and of course, it doesn't, mention how much it costs in pounds, right? But I think I prefer this one to the North American version. Yet another copy of that. These have I've been remarkably lucky to come across a number of these. Here is another poster from the UK, obviously advertising The Last Command, the last chance to beat the Empire. I mean, honestly, in general, I'm just really partial to these Bantam era UK shop posters. I mean, I just think from the taglines to the art to the presentation, I think they really got things right. And I'm sort of curious. I want to see if I can take a peek at what's behind here. I sort of forget. Oh, you know what? I do know what's behind this. This is another Chusabakura poster behind here. And again, a future video will show that. This is one of the only pieces of fan art I've ever picked up because, come on, it's Sith Leia. You can't go wrong. This is not fan art. This is original art from Eric Mail. This is from, I believe, I'm gonna get critiqued in the comments for this. I think it's from series 13 of the Topps Galaxy card series, but it's effectively, a real EU art, to the extent that it's part of the Galaxy run. I always thought this was one of the most striking images of the EU. Vader at Padme's tomb. Beautiful. This is one of my prized possessions for a variety of reasons. One, it's hits all the bases here with advertising the entire run of Legacy, one of the best book covers of all time in the EU, in my opinion, and it's just a super rare piece you just don't come across very often. So my Legacy of the Force promo, this is one of the things that I would probably want to get custom framed at some point rather than just sort of keep in a portfolio. This was something, Jedi Apprentice promo, that I was really surprised to come across. And this also, I was able to pick this up in a lot with, also with a floor display for the Jedi Apprentice book. Now, what's so exciting about coming across something like this is that I really had no idea it existed. I mean, this is specifically something that was there to promote a scholastic book fair, right? Coming to an elementary school. So, it's one of those things where it's like, those are sort of self-promoting, right? Those are events that kids sort of get taken to, whether they want to or not, right? It's sort of, Scholastic gets set up in the library or in the cafeteria. You take a little break from your math lessons, right? In 5th grade, you get walked down there. If you're lucky, you've got a couple of bucks to buy some sticker books, a couple of posters, some Star Wars books at the time, what have you. You don't need promo posters, but evidently, Scholastic thought you did, right? And so I really didn't know this existed until I accidentally stumbled across it, right? And there's always that sort of paradox of being super excited, but then also super scared as a super collector, because you're like, then what else don't I know about, right? But I was, again, very happy to pick this up. Not something had really ever seen before or since. And I think that's it right now for the 17 by 22s I was able to get out of the tubes. So I will turn finally to the 18 by 24. Now, when it comes to this method of storing and displaying and being able to enjoy promo posters, these art portfolios are a really, really, really great option, right? Because they're out of the tubes, so you can actually look at them really easily, right? They save space, but unfortunately not everything is 18 by 24 or smaller, right? Quite a few things, in fact, most of my things are actually 24 by 36, 27 by 40, 27 by 41. I've got some posters that are literally 6 feet tall, that were on bus shelters and things like that. So 18 by 24 is about the best you can do. There really aren't any easily, commonly, cheaply available portfolios with rigid covers, which is the real key, and anything bigger than 18 by 24. So when it comes to like your standard 2 by 3 and bigger, you're in a tough bind, right? You're probably going to have to, in the interest of displaying them, just get some cheap frames. The problem is that most frames have a cardboard backer, which means that if you're talking about promo posters that are double-sided, then you're kind of SOL, right? You're just going to have to trust, right, that there's something else on the other side, or maybe from time to time take it out and flip it. So I wish one of these days someone would create an affordable, 18 by or 24 by 36 portfolio with really rigid covers, because I've experimented with other portfolios that size, but unfortunately they don't have rigid covers. And then how do you display it? The thing gets all wrinkly. It's too big. It's just unruly. So anyway, 18 by 24. Again, if you love 17 by 22, then it's like 18 by 24 really sells some of these things, right? And so it's interesting to sort of speculate about why some things got the bigger size treatment than others. Who knows? This is from the 2010 Star Wars Fan Club, promoting some of those Star Wars Clone Wars sort of kind of YA tie-ins. I've been doing some mixing and matching. Originally, I had all of my 17 by 22s in here as well, which is why there's a number of blank pages as I've been sort of moving things in and out. This is a double-sided poster. I think the other side promotes maybe something from the Star Wars Republic run, Star Wars Empire. And if you can see down here, it's autographed by all of the artists, including Chandra Emma. Pretty excited about that. So definitely a prized possession in the old collection here. I've got a lot of different things in here, including I collect a lot of kind of like subversive political art here. So this was really funny. This is a really funny critique that I found years ago of the Reagan and Thatcher administration. Kind of a random poster collection. It just goes to show some of the weird posters I've got, not Star Wars related. Yeah, a lot of blank pages here. There's only so much at this size, but this is a fun one too. It just goes to show the extent to which you really need to search if you're interested in promos promoting the content, right? Because here we go. The hunt is over, on sale here. Obviously one of the more iconic images from this era, but it's promoting the Star Wars Galaxy magazine, which of course from time to time would contain original EU stories, right? So if you're interested in all of the EU content, and all of the things promoting EU content, doesn't just stop at the books or comics or games, right? You've got to go to the things promoting the magazines, like you saw before with the Clone Wars magazine promo. Now, Star Wars Tales. Now, this is always controversial. How far do you go with this, right? If you're interested in collecting, things that promote the content, do you get the things that promote the content that was by definition in some of the cases non-canon, And I ultimately just fall on the side of being a completist and just sort of getting it all. With one exception, I've still never bothered holding on to or tracking down again promos related to the late Brian Wood run, the Dark Horse run, the 2013, there's 2012, 2013 run. They're out there, and I just, for whatever reason, I just can't go there, But with some of this Tales stuff, I will, because there's some cool images, and I think this is double-sided. There's a few things promoting Tales, and I've got a couple things that wouldn't fit in any of these promos that I think I've showed in previous videos, some that are like 13 by 36, those are things that just need to get custom framed or, ultimately stay in tubes forever. Now, I've talked about this on previous videos. I've got a couple different versions of this, and this is something that, it says get caught reading, right? Yoda gets caught reading Star Wars. It is from the Association of American Publishers, okay? Now, I don't really know who they are. I don't know what their relationship to Star Wars is. But what I've always loved about this is you have a very bizarre situation in which we have Yoda reading a book of the EU, and not just a book of the EU, a very important book of the EU, and also a book of the EU that appears to be a Force ghost. So there's just something so bizarre happening here that it was too good not to keep this part of the collection. And interestingly, I also have this as a button. So I've got this in a couple different versions, and so it's sort of fun to have the full-scale poster too. Just again, where else do you see Yoda reading Force Ghost versions of EU books? Here is another UK shop promo poster. Definitely a prized possession for a couple of reasons. It's definitely nostalgic from that sort of, what I guess we'd call the Bantam era sort of version of Star Wars. Putting it all together, there's just something about that I like. Again, for anyone sort of wondering, was there any conscious sort of sense of continuity or connections, right? Well, the licensees and the people promoting the books to retailers certainly sort of thought so, right? To the point that they're literally helping you map it out. Star Wars, putting it all together. This occasionally comes on the market. What's really tricky about some of these promo posters is because they're double-sided, sometimes folks seem to think the other side is the thing that matters more. And in all fairness with this, they might be right, because now one of the things that first got me so excited about promo posters is wanting to see bigger versions of the really attractive book covers, right? And so on the other side is an example of that, and I'll show you in a second. I think this is a case where I will pull the paper out so you guys can get a sense of what's in here. So that's pretty cool, right? Nice 18 by 24, sort of basically sort of like virgin version of this beautiful cover, right? And so a lot of times you'll see this for sale and not realize that on the other side is sort of the, the putting it all together sort of mapping of the EU books and vice versa. And really, really great stuff. Again, the hits keep coming with the UK promo posters. Once again, keeping the prices very affordable indeed, only £3.99. Dark Force Rising, Volume 2 of a 3-book cycle. Unfortunately, I've got sort of like the full run of these Thrawn trilogy promo posters, both in North America and the UK. None of them are in order here. Sorry about that. But always fun to see. Again, this just brings back memories of seeing this in shops, and it's great to track it down again. And there's sort of a sense, I think, sometimes that among collectors that some of this like early Bantam stuff just doesn't exist, or it's just super hard to find. It can be found if you know where to look for it, but it did exist, Again, I was sort of under the apprehension for years that like some of the stuff was effectively self-promoting, right? But no, like there's a lot of really good promos, for instance, for like Heir to the Empire, and they can be tracked now. This is unique, another piece from the UK. Got the Lucas Books logo there. I'd be interested if anyone knows more about this than I do. I don't know much about this. Obviously it's promoting some episode 1 related content. Every saga has a beginning. Here we go. We've got, May 4th. Interestingly, May 4th, the novelization coming out, and some, the illustrated screenplay and the making of book. But I don't know who put this together. I don't know if this was something that was also available in North America. I don't remember seeing this in North America, but I don't know if this was something specifically done for some booksellers in the UK, but nonetheless, there it was. And so it had to be added to the collection. Oh, this is just one of the sort of the few like fan art pieces I've got too. I always thought this was fun. The Kessel Run, How Many Parsecs Will It Take You? Sponsored by the Hutt Cartel in association with the Freeborn Consortium. But that was always pretty cool. This is also something that I think you can certainly find reproductions of. This was a limited print. Years ago I picked up at a con, but it's certainly still out there. Let me see what else I've got here. That might be it. Except for this. Told you they were out of order. So this is one of the, definitely a prized possession, I'd say. And I think for a couple of reasons, because this was one that, again, I have to admit, I don't remember ever seeing at the time, and it's partly because at the time where I was living, we didn't have any bookstores. I actually bought my first copy of Heir to the Empire at the grocery store, which always sold back in the day, books that were on the New York Times bestseller list, right? So that's how I got some of my early Bantam era Star Wars. And particularly back then, clearly, pre World Wide Web and stuff. I obviously it was so long ago, I can't remember now, but I don't think I remember even hearing buzz about there being a books in the work. I just saw it one day early on, grabbed it, and, still have my original copy. But I was very excited to discover that this exists. And it's also a prized possession because it's just in such good shape for being so old and for being something that you could imagine, like, I don't know, particularly at the time, would have just gotten tossed out or something, right? Like, who would have known that this would have become sort of like, I think, what can be fairly described as an iconic book, whatever your other thoughts about the book are. So anyway, this is a great one. This is single-sided. That might be it here. Is there anything else? I think that's it, yeah. So just sort of a quick run through sort of the 18 by 24s and the 17 by 22s and the 11 by 17s. Now, what still needs to get cataloged are all the additional prints I have that fit in these. I think eventually I might need another 11 by 17, maybe another 17 by 22. And what I need to do is to figure out a much longer term solution with, again, as I said, the 2 by 3s and the 27 by 41s and everything else, not to mention the ones that are sort of like door length, like the 13 by 36 and things like that. So lots of promo posters. And then, of course, that's to say nothing of some little promo pieces that are basically the size of like credit cards that like fold out, that give you like a full list of, say, all like the Dark Horse comics and things like that. I mean, the mountain of promo materials is seemingly never ending, which is also to say nothing of the floor displays and the shop, floor displays and things like that too, all of which I will detail in future videos. So I hope you enjoyed that little run down my sort of memory lane again with all these promo posters. A lot more to come.